graduates and guests. The Pro-Chancellor, Emeritus Professor Alan Pettigrew from the University of Sydney, and members of the academic processions are about to enter. Will all those who are able, please stand.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Please be seated. My name is Melissa Roffley. I'm the Director of Student Services from the University of Sydney, and I'm the Master of Ceremony for today. It is our absolute pleasure to be here with you at the Singapore Institute of Management for this special graduation ceremony. I'd like to take a few moments to introduce you to people that are here on the stage with me, starting with Pro-Chancellor Emeritus Professor Alan Pettigrew from the University of Sydney, who will preside over the ceremony today. Adjunct Professor Abel Ong, who is the member of the Singapore Institute of Management Board of Directors. Dr. Timothy Chan, who is the Vice Provost from the SIM. Professor Brendan McCormack, Head of School and Dean of the University of Sydney Susan Wakell School of Nursing and Midwifery. Professor Jacqueline Bloomfield, the Director of International Programs from the University of Sydney Susan Wakell School of Nursing and Midwifery, who will present the graduates today, and His Excellency Mr. Alistair Cox, Australian High Commissioner to Singapore, who is also our guest speaker. The other people that are seated on the stage today are professors, academics and professional staff who have played such a large part in the success of today's graduates. It now gives me great pleasure to invite Pro-Chancellor Emeritus Professor Alan Pettigrew to formally open proceedings.
May I extend a very, very warm welcome to you all to this ceremony this afternoon on behalf of the Chancellor and all of my colleague fellows of Senate of the University of Sydney. I'm particularly delighted to be here with you today, as Singapore is such a special place in the world, given its remarkable history and success as a nation. I'd also like to extend our sincere thanks to the Singapore Institute of Management for welcoming us here and hosting this ceremony. It is a great pleasure to see so many of our outstanding Singaporean graduates here today, along with their family and friends who have supported them on this very important journey. At the University of Sydney, we are very proud of our links with Singapore and our growing network of Singaporean graduates and alumni. Formal events such as this graduation ceremony, which have such a long tradition over hundreds of years, emphasise the strong bonds and the value of our collaboration with the Singapore Institute of Management. Today's graduation ceremony is especially significant as it marks the 30th anniversary of our partnership with the Institute. This partnership was established to address the need for degree-qualified healthcare professionals in Singapore's healthcare sector. The collaboration began in 1994 with the university's Faculty of Health Sciences, as it was in those days. In 2008, there was a realignment of the partnership to focus specifically on nursing. A strong relationship has been sustained since that time between Singapore Institute of Management and what is now known as the Susan Wakell School of Nursing and Midwifery. This has been a successful relationship and one that is so important to international cooperation and understanding in our region. The University of Sydney has graduated more than 4,000 health professionals during our 30-year partnership with the Institute here, with the majority of those being registered nurses. We are very proud that many of these nursing graduates have gone on to highly successful careers to hold senior leadership and executive positions within healthcare across Singapore. This is an outstanding achievement on behalf of both institutions. We are also extremely proud of our current talented and dedicated students and staff who continue to uphold the University of Sydney's core values of respect, integrity, and understanding of diversity and inclusion, and who lead the way in education and research. They are a key reason why Sydney Nursing School is ranked the #1 nursing school in Australia and has a world-class reputation. It has always been our goal to encourage genuine leadership in the community of the kind that comes from true dedication and hard work, qualities every one of today's graduating class has in abundance. Our Sydney Nursing School graduates not only possess a world-class degree, they are also equipped with the knowledge they need to contribute to a better world, both here in Singapore and wherever they may find themselves in their future career. On this 30th anniversary, we are honoured to have shared such a long and happy relationship with the Singapore Institute of Management, and we look forward to this continuing on for many years to come. Thank you, Professor Ang.
Thank you, Professor Pettigrew, Your Excellency, Ambassador Cox, and the University of Sydney, some of my other colleagues, people like Professor Bloomfield, people like Professor McCormack. Welcome to this graduation ceremony, and also especially to our graduates and all the family members as well. I wanted to echo the congratulations that Professor Pettigrew has given to all of the graduates. I think that the fact that you are here is a testimony to your perseverance. I think all of you know that the job that you do is not an easy one. And it's even more difficult if, as I understand it, many of you have gone through a degree whilst working full-time. Right? And I think that maybe in this period, I know all the graduates are here, all the family members and loved ones are there. I would love for all of you to maybe look towards your family and loved ones if they are here, and perhaps friends as well, and give them a little heart and tell them that you thank them for what they are doing for you, right? To get you here today, right? You know, I think that we are in a very interesting time in healthcare and in education, right? Increasingly, you see Professor Pettigrew talked about the leadership that we have. So we have graduated over the last 30 years, 4,000 nurses through our degree program. And, you know, through that, what has happened is that many of our alum are now in senior leadership positions all across Singapore. right? The most recent alum, actually, who now is the Deputy CEO of Alexandra Hospital, actually is a graduate of our University of Sydney program. So I think as you reflect on your journey, one thing that I think that you can be very, very comfortable with is that the education that you have in this degree program is one that will continue to serve you well. Right. As the case may be, I actually recently just came back from Sydney. I had a chance to meet with our colleagues in Sydney. I actually just got back 2 days ago. And while I was there, I was truly blown away by how the University of Sydney, in the way that they do medical education and healthcare education, they really take this concept of interprofessional care very seriously. And interprofessional care is really not that the clinic or the patient is dominated by the decision of the doctor, which I think here in Singapore we all understand because everybody puts the doctor on the pedestal, right? And, you know, again, no offense to the doctors in the room, but I do think that actually increasingly, as many of you know, especially those sitting here, right, what you say and what you do has perhaps even more impact on the care of the patient and how the patient outcomes will look when the care is delivered. And I think that this is an example of the interprofessional care that increasingly we have given to you in your education. And I think that this will stand you in very good stead in the coming years ahead. So I do think that that's something that will distinguish you in the coming years. I would like to also say that as you go through your journey, one thing that I also was very much impressed by as I was in Sydney is really this concept of patient-centric care. So we talked about interprofessional care, but I think that our colleague, Professor McCormack, is actually a world expert. So if you have a chance, please go and have a chat with him about this. Yesterday night at the dinner in Ambassador's Residence, I actually talked about this. He has a video on YouTube, which I actually encourage all our millennials and Gen Zs to go and watch, because it's actually a wonderful video which talks about how if we really are focused on the patient, right, then we should deliver patient-centric care, right? And increasingly, some of you are going to work with seniors, and if you work with seniors, one of the things that you will find very quickly is that the older a person is, the less likely they are going to advocate for their care, the less likely they will actually tell you what they want, because they either feel that they are not capable or they feel like that's not something they can do for themselves, right? And I think that in a time like this, I encourage you to think about this concept of patient-centric care, to really understand what the patient wants and to deliver the care that is needed at that point of time. So I think that the other thing I would perhaps like to make quick mention of is I wanted to give you also a bit of a flavor of our award winners. You will see 3 award winners that will come on stage, and as a faculty, we had a chance to get to know them a little bit before the session today, right? I'm bringing them up not because they are special, but I bring them up as examples of the kind of care that we see today, right? And the first person I think is Yen. Maybe Yen, you can just wave your hand, right? I think her mom is in the audience, right? We talked about she's been working in the National Heart Center, right? Then we have Wei Wen, and Yen is from Vietnam. We have Wei Wen, who is somewhere around. Yeah, she. So Wei Wen comes to us from Penang, and then we have Kieran, who is our bronze medal winner, right? And Kieran is actually next to Wei Wen. I just realized that, right? No, and I share that because here we have 3 different individuals. Unfortunately, all girls, right? Could have been nice. It would have been nice to have had a boy in there. We do have males too, but I think we all know that that this is one area that I think that we could do a bit more with gender diversity. But I do believe also that actually, if you look at the stories of these 3 individuals, these 3 award winners, right? They tell the story of what is happening in nursing, right? I think increasingly nursing is transboundary, transnational, right? I think increasingly nursing is about working in the surgical realm, working in the patient pre-post-op, working in a polyclinic where Kieran wants to further her professional career in, right? But wherever you are in the healthcare continuum, right? I think that the key really is that you are making a huge difference, right? And whatever you have chosen to do, I hope that we at SIM, together with University of Sydney, have given you everything that you need, right? But my fallback plan is that if we didn't give you everything that you needed, right, we are always still here, right? For your postgraduate and also for your future education needs. I trust that you will remember us. Please always know that we have your back. And we are here if you are looking to develop yourself, advance yourself, and we'll always be cheering you on as you go about your healthcare journey. So with that said, thank you very much. Congratulations yet again to the graduates.
This ceremony has been arranged to recognise the achievements of those who have fulfilled all the conditions required of them by the statutes of the University of Sydney.
Would all candidates who are able to please stand? Pro-Chancellor, I certify that all candidates in attendance at this ceremony have successfully completed the requirements of the degree for which they are to receive.
In the name of the Senate and by my authority as Pro-Chancellor, I acknowledge the admission of the candidates to the appropriate award of the University of Sydney.
Please be seated. The graduates will now be presented by Professor Jacqueline Bloomfield.
Pro-Chancellor, I present the graduates from the University of Sydney, Susan Wakehill School of Nursing and Midwifery, with the degree of Bachelor of Nursing. Abad Aileen Marie Mendez. Ang Lee Tong. Ang Vuon Ching. Ang Shui Wen. Banapriya Anamala. Cecilia Lu Jia Yi. Chang Shu Xian. Chen Feng Yuan. Chu Chin Kit Xavier. Chong Chi Yang. Colin Lee Boon Howe. Darshini Morthy. I Tanda Kang. Fu Xin Yu. Ji Zhang Yi Nigel. Jeniston Shannon Doherty Rabuza. Glenn Tay Zi Yi. Hamina Binti Sarajo. Hannasay Binti Manison. Rizal Rifai bin Roslin. Jin Hui Hui. Kamini, daughter of Ellen Coven. Kavita, daughter of Peter Sivanasan. Kavita, daughter of Shanmugam. Kenny Tan King Hong. Ku Wan Ting Diana. Kiran Sudu. Kuan Wei Wen. Li Ji. Lena. Lena. Lim Chia Wen. Lok Ka Yi. Lu Caesar. Mohammed Fayez bin Mohammed Azli. Monica, daughter of Michael Joseph. Mohammed Amir Faisal bin Eddie Ibrahim. Mohammed Hafiq bin Mohammed Mira. Mohammed Sibyl bin Mohammed Sayed. Nadira Amelia binti Masidi. Nguyen Nu Hoang Yan. Nur Shafika binti Mazlan. Nur Saida binti Shahal Hamid. Ong Mei Woon. Ong Yok Moy. Peng Xiao Mei. Fu Xin Win. Priyanka Devi, daughter of Jaram. Radhika Kaur Dillon, daughter of Surindable Singh. Sharafa Zawa binti Hasni Al Idras. Sonia Shiva Shankari, daughter of Simon. Sun Ru. Tam Wei Yi Nadia. Z Yvonne. Wan Ka Yi Regine. Wang Yuzhen. Winnie To K Lee. Wong Pei Tess. Wong Zi San. Yan Chian Yi. Yati Mo. Yao Wei Lin. Yong Sin Lei. Zhao Wenjing. Thank you, Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor. That concludes the presentation of graduates. It is now my pleasure to invite Adjunct Professor Abel Ang, member of Singapore Institute of Management Board of Directors, to present awards to graduates who have excelled in their studies. Winner of the SIM Gold Award, Nguyen Nu Huang Yen. Winner of the SIM Silver Award, Quan Wei Yan. And winner of the SIM Bronze Award, Kiran Sidhu. Thank you, Professor Ang. That concludes the presentation of awards at this ceremony.
If it hasn't been said once, it's been said many times, and I'm going to say it one more time. Congratulations to all our graduates this afternoon. I hope that you feel that your time at the University of Sydney has contributed towards the realisation of your personal goals and the advancement of your careers. I also hope that your experience has given you a deeper understanding of the world that we live in. Your University of Sydney degree is a considerable achievement. It is a degree that will serve to open new opportunities now and in the future. You now stand ready to move on to the next stage in your life, and I wish you every success in pursuing your dreams. I'm sure you will use the knowledge, critical thinking and values you've gained in your studies to embrace leadership and to maintain the values of the university. Your degree is also a signal to others about your personal commitment as a health professional to the service of others. There can be no greater calling in life, and you have made that choice. And on behalf of everyone here and with whom you will work in the future, thank you for making that choice. At the University of Sydney, we've long held the view that we aim to provide leadership for good. Leaders are not just the grand and the famous. Leaders are those who are determined to live life boldly with great spirit and generosity of heart. Leadership is also so often found in simple acts of self-expression, when, for example, we challenge a falsehood that has been advertised as truth, when we call injustice by its name, and when we go out of our way to help another, or when we choose a career that is about making a real difference in society, as all of you have done. To your family and close friends, we say thank you. Thank you for encouraging your loved ones, for supporting them through their studies, and for being there when it all seemed very, very difficult. I know you are so proud. Today you share in this celebration of success. On behalf of all the graduates and of the university, I thank you for helping your graduate along the way. Special thanks must also go to our academic staff, those dedicated individuals who taught our graduates and who came up with exciting ways to share their wisdom, knowledge and experience with our graduates. You're all wonderful people and we are so fortunate to have you with us. Finally, today we welcome you, our graduates, as alumni members of the University of Sydney and Singapore Institute of Management. You may not be studying with us anymore, although that is always a possibility and we do encourage it, but you will always be members of our alumni communities. The University of Sydney alumni community has more than 450,000 members in over 170 countries. No matter where you are in the world, you can stay connected to the university and to friends through our global network. So congratulations once again to all of you. We do hope that you will remain engaged with the university and the institute as you pursue your career in the future. It is now my pleasure to welcome our speaker today, His Excellency Mr. Alistair Cox, Australian High Commissioner to Singapore since April 2023. Prior to this, he was the first Assistant Secretary for Strategy and Development in the Office of Southeast Asia, following his posting to Jakarta as Deputy Head of Mission. Mr. Cox has had a long career in the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, working mainly in Southeast Asia, including in our headquarters in Canberra as Division Head for the Southeast Asia and overseas as Ambassador to Vietnam and Brunei Darussalam. He has previously worked at the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet, covering Asia, Americas and Trade, and headed the US branch of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. He was also the head of policy planning at Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and has had earlier postings in Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur and Brunei. Mr. Cox holds degrees from the University of Sydney in economics, government and law. He is a wonderful example of how our university's alumni make a difference on the world stage. Your Excellency, it is a great pleasure to welcome you here today and I invite you to deliver the occasional address.
Emeritus Professor Alan Pettigrew, Pro-Chancellor and Fellow of the Senate of the University of Sydney, Adjunct Professor Abel Ang, Member of the Board of Singapore Institute of Management, Professor Brendan McCormack, Head of the Susan Wackel School of Nursing and Midwifery in the Faculty of Medicine and Health at Sydney University, members of the councils and academic boards and staff of both institutions, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, and most importantly, you, the graduates. It's a great pleasure and honour for me to be here with you today to attend this degree conferment ceremony for the Bachelor of Nursing post-registration by the University of Sydney with the Singapore Institute of Management. I'd like to thank both the Singapore Institute, the SIM Board of Directors, represented today by Adjunct Professor Abel Ang, and Sydney University, represented by Emeritus Professor Alan Pettigrew, for the invitation. It's tremendous in particular to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the University of Sydney's partnership with SIM in nursing education. It's important to recognise the foresight of earlier generations of leaders at SIM to have forged this partnership with Sydney back in the early 90s. In Singapore today, upskilling, skills future and programs for continuous learning are being stressed correctly by the government at every opportunity. But SIM was leading the way 30 years ago with this degree to upskill and develop your critical profession. And as an alumnus of Sydney University myself, I'm proud of the university's early engagement on this program and of its achievements and the global engagement it has as one of the leading international universities of our country and in the world for many years. Being here today also recalls to mind my close engagement and work with the then Dean of Medicine at Sydney University, Professor Bruce Robinson, and his team when I was ambassador to Vietnam, almost back in 2008 to 2012, where we collaborated closely with the Hoc Mai Foundation, based at Sydney University. And those of you who are Vietnamese here may already know of the Hoc Mai Foundation, an organisation dedicated to the upskilling of doctors and nurses in Vietnam, based on the friendships and collegiality between leading Vietnamese and Australian medical and nursing academics and teachers, particularly at Sydney University, obviously. I saw the way that engagement, both in the big cities and remote towns of Vietnam, was steadily building skills, knowledge, and a new respect for hands-on medical practice and for the nursing profession as a profession, as critical to good health outcomes as the work of other medical professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, in considering what I might say today, I was thinking about the words of a mentor of mine, the current Chancellor of the University of Queensland, Mr. Peter Varghese. Speaking to us at the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade a decade ago, where he was our permanent secretary, he remarked that leadership is a behaviour, not a position. That struck me, that observation struck me and had profound resonance and has always stuck with me. By it, he meant that those of us in positions of leadership, like many of you are already in today, could not assume that simply by virtue of those positions we would be respected or followed by our teams. And equally, he implied, those of us who were not in formal leadership roles should not assume, therefore, that we had no duty to help lead and shape the processes and outcome of our organisation. But what Peter did not spell out, at least not on that occasion, was what that behaviour might actually be. Of course, leadership can amount to many behaviours, but I thought that for the graduates today, especially in or looking ahead to lives of professional leadership, as all of you are, I might sketch out a few thoughts about leadership and leadership behaviour you might find useful. I have 4 key observations. First, leaders must set an example. You cannot expect people to do as they are instructed to do if they see you behaving in ways that fundamentally contradict your instructions. This is perhaps more complex than it first appears. People are often more perceptive than we give them credit for. They can usually either quickly or over time, see through deception or cover-up. Early on as a leader, or really as a person, you should begin to think about who you are and what your personality is. And many of you have probably already had plenty of opportunity to think about that. This is not always static and will evolve, but certain elements of it are enduring. As a leader, you should try to lead in a way that suits your personality and style. Some leaders are very externally focused and extroverted and enthused from the front. Others tend to take a lower key and even more introverted approach. And this is not a binary. There are a wide spectrum of styles, and there are many specific behaviours wrapped up in this. The key is to be authentic in your manner and style. Behave in a way that is real to you, and that will be seen and recognised by those around you and respected for what it is. If you combine that with clear and well thought out communication, then you can evolve that behaviour into an effective style of leadership. I've worked with many people who have been outspoken and forceful and equally quiet, even shy, but determined, and many others too. And yet I can recognise all as leaders in various ways. The common denominator has been that all these people have been true to themselves and widely respected for that. Second, leadership, like life in general, requires us to be fundamentally accountable to ourselves and to others. If we cannot stand by and justify and explain our actions and decisions, we cannot lead on them. Like authenticity, accountability involves a big dose of honesty and realism about our own behaviour. Often in life, we will need to make hard calls on things that are tough, including about the lives and interests of other people, and that is perhaps particularly true in your profession. And these won't always be what others want to hear or will easily accept. But in doing so, it's critical to have heard or to have made an effort to hear a range of opinions, to have reviewed all the available evidence, and to have thought through the pros and cons. Even on what we might think are quite technical or black and white questions, there are often different specialist analyses, and I'm sure many of you already know that. Have these been considered? And if not, why not? Sometimes there are good reasons why not. But whatever these reasons, a leader must be prepared to explain, clarify, and be honest with those around them. And that applies in a professional and personal context as well. Third is what I call the iron law of expectations. Leaders must set and clearly communicate accurate expectations of outcomes to clients, patients, families, team members, or other stakeholders. Set expectations too high at the start, and the disappointment when they are not met is usually doubly as great and more deeply felt. It's amazing how much in life, in all sorts of ways, is affected by our expectations, and how getting them wrong or either over or under promising deeply affects other people's perceptions of us. So being hard-headed and accurate, often that means under-promising with a view to stronger delivery in reality, is a strong feature of good leadership. Fourth, leadership involves having and demonstrating genuine respect for other people, for the diversity of skills, personalities and opinions that one encounters in life and working environments. Again, like authenticity, people can usually determine quite quickly whether we are respecting them or not. This involves fundamental things like listening deeply, asking questions that reflect that listening, and explaining your perspective on what you have heard. It also means looking for and actively surrounding yourself with people with diverse skill sets. Often in life, we seek out people like ourselves, or who we think are like ourselves. It makes us feel comfortable, relaxed, more at ease. And it's not always wrong to do so, but in the long run, if that is all we do, and as leaders, it's a big mistake. If you do this, especially in a work context, you're likely to end up not seeing alternative opinions and ways of solving problems. And that can be very costly in life as well. Many of you aspire or will aspire to more senior leadership roles in your profession. As you grow and develop in your roles and start to create and lead larger teams than you do now, try to create a mix of people around you. Some people like you can help deliver on and implement your vision, but others from diverse backgrounds who see other opportunities, other ways of doing things, will add a great deal. The debates and even arguments with these people will not always be easy, but your team, your organisation, will often end up with conclusions that help deliver better outcomes and make you all more successful. This is the true meaning of the importance of diversity. Diversity of input, properly recruited, shaped, nurtured, and indeed led, is a great strength and is indeed a founding principle on which Singapore was founded. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, with these observations, I have not exhausted by any means the full range of attributes that define leadership. Leadership as a behaviour, not position or rank. But with authenticity and being true to your own example, accountability for your actions and respect for the diversity, experience and capacity of others, I think you have the fundamentals for both life and leadership as a behaviour. The road ahead is sure to have high points and possible detours, times of challenge and difficulty. But if, as leaders in your own personal and professional lives, you seek to keep these key factors in mind, you are sure to find the balance to sustain and build the equilibrium necessary to grow and ultimately prosper. I'd like to thank again, take this opportunity again to thank the councils of both the Singapore Institute of Management and the University of Sydney for the invitation given to me to speak today. And in doing so, I'd like to congratulate both institutions again on their long-running and very successful 30-year partnership. And I would also like to express my thanks, my warmest congratulations to all you who are graduating today. We wish you, your families and friends, all the very best for your future careers and for the future. Thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you for that oration. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, friends, guests, esteemed guests, and of course our graduates. It is my honour and pleasure to congratulate all of you on the significant achievement that you are celebrating here today. It's a wonderful achievement and one that we should never fail to celebrate and the achievements that you have received. You're a very special cohort because you are the 30th anniversary cohort, the class of 2024. And it is wonderful to have in the audience Mary, who is representing the first class, the class of 1994. And Mary, congratulations to you for being with us. It is wonderful to see you as that first class here celebrating the class of 2024, 30 years later. And I do hope that many of you here graduating today will be back here in 2054 celebrating the class of 60 years of this partnership and the class of 2054. And I really hope that you have an amazing career in doing so. I was thinking, as Alistair was talking and this whole celebratory event was proceeding, about our vision at Sydney Nursing School, which is to educate future leaders, global citizens in health and well-being. And this degree is a true example of us and all of you working towards that vision. Back in, 26 years ago, I graduated from the University of Oxford with a doctorate in philosophy. And when I was leaving that graduation ceremony, my then supervisor said to me, "Congratulations, you can now relax and take it easy because you've achieved what you want to achieve." And I looked at him in horror and said, "What do you mean? There's a whole world out there that I want to change." And 26 years later, I'm still trying to change that world, but still have the same degree of passion for trying to do so. And I hope that in 26 years, you still will have that same passion, that same vision that we have for you as global citizens, and that you will have achieved and brought about significant change to the world of nursing, to the world of healthcare, and to the communities that we have the honour and privilege of serving. So I wish you all a great celebration today with your friends and families, and I hope you celebrate hard. It's important as nurses to do so. And I hope that you have a great career ahead of you. Congratulations again, and I hope you have a great day.
I would like to invite Professor Ng to present a gift of appreciation to His Excellency Mr. Alistair Cox. The formal part of our proceedings have now been completed. The Pro-Chancellor and Professor Ng invite the new graduates and guests to photo opportunities in the atrium, and the Pro-Chancellor and members of the academic procession are about to leave. And graduates are invited to join the end of the procession. So I'd be grateful if guests could just remain in their places until the procession has left. And for those who are able, would you please stand for the academic procession? Thank you.